Hey guys, it's LEGO Boys E3. Today I'm going to show you how to solve the MoYu Redi cube. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. So the first step is to make the white layer. So to do that, we first have to find the four corner pieces that have white on them. So looking around the cube, these ones don't have white on them. These four, though, do have white on them. So once we have found these four corner pieces, we can rotate them up into place so that all of the white is facing up onto one side, just like this. And so now what we've done is we've created these four slots that the white edges need to go into. So we can take a look at one of these slots here. How about this one? This one needs to house the white and blue edge piece. So we look around the cube until we find the white and blue edge piece. And where we want to put it is directly opposite of this slot. So the slot's right here, we want to put it up here on the opposite side of the cube so that you can draw a straight line from where it is to where it needs to go. And so that's pretty simple in this case. All you have to do is bring around one of these sides like this until it's in the right spot. And now what you have to do is bring this slot upwards. So you can just bring it up by turning either one of these sides. You bring the slot upwards towards the piece. You bring the piece down into that slot, just like this. And then you undo that first move by bringing the slot back down into place. And now you can see that the edge piece is in the correct spot. We can now repeat that process with the other three slots. Let's just start off with the white and green one. So we look around the cube for the white and green edge piece. It happens to be back here. So what we have to do is just do a couple moves, bring it around until it's right up above where it needs to go. Then we bring up one of these sides, bring up the slot, bring the piece down into the slot, and then bring the slot back down to where it needs to go. Now, if you happen to get stuck in a case where, let's just say you're looking for the edge piece that needs to go into this slot, so it's the white and orange one, we're looking around the cube, we can't find the white and orange one, it actually happens to be down here in the incorrect slot. So that's no problem. All we have to do is put another edge into this incorrect spot, which will push this one out and allow us to put it over into the correct spot. So we can just find any edge, it doesn't matter. Let's just say this one that's already above the slot, and we just bring up the slot, bring the edge into the slot, and bring this one back down. Now you can see we've pushed this edge out, and now we can bring it into its correct spot. So we bring it above the slot, we bring the slot up, piece down, and the slot back down. Now we can finish the cube off with this last one, just like this, in the same exact way. So now once you finish this white layer, we can go ahead and turn around the cube and start on the second step. So in this step, we're going to be solving these four corner pieces and the four edge pieces that go beneath them. So if you remember back to the first step, we started off by just moving all the corners so that white was facing upwards. So we're going to do the same thing now, except making it so that yellow is facing upwards. So we just turn each of these corners. Now yellow is facing upwards, and we have these four corners. And so that's created four more slots right here, 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 and here to put edges into. And so the first thing you want to do is just look around the cube and see if you have a case like right here. So the slot right here is green and red, and if we look at the green and red piece, it's right up here. So this is already in a straight line from where it needs to go, which means that you do the exact same thing as we did on the first step. Which means that we're just going to bring this slot upwards towards the piece. And make sure that you're turning this side and not this side of the cube to bring the slot upwards, because if we were to turn this side of the cube, that's where we have the white side, and we're going to mess up the white side if we do that. So we're going to want to turn it away from the white side like this, move the piece inwards just like we did before, and bring the slot back down. And now you'll notice that we actually messed up one of these yellow corners, but that's okay, we can just put it back to how it was, and there we go. Now sometimes at this point, if you're just looking around the cube at these few slots, looking for another case like this where the piece just needs to go straight into its slot in a straight line, sometimes you will find another one, so you can just put that in the same way. Make sure you're turning away from the white side so you don't mess that up. But sometimes you'll be looking around the cube and there won't be any other easy cases like that. And so in the case that you don't see any of those easy cases, the next thing you want to look out for is a slot with the piece that needs to go in there right next to it. So we have the green and red slot right here with the green and red edge piece right next to it. It can also be over on this right side, but in this case it happens to be on the left side. So in the case that you do happen to have a case like this, what we want to do is actually turn it into the case that we had before, where it was a straight line away from where it needs to go. Now yes, you will be messing up this corner. You can see that yellow is no longer facing the correct direction, but that's actually okay because once we bring the slot up, bring the piece into the slot, and bring it back down like we have all along, you can see that yellow is now facing the correct direction. And so now at this point we can solve most of the rest of the cube in the exact same way. So here's another case like that. We have the orange and green slot, and we have the orange and green piece right next to it. So we can just bring it up so that it's in a straight line from it, bring the slot up away from the white side of course, bring the piece back down, and bring that piece back down like that. And there we go. And now finally onto the last step. This is another case that you can get where it's not directly next to it, and it's also not set up with just a straight line away from it. And so what you want to do in this case when you have an edge back here or back here and the slot's down here, what you just want to do is bring up the slot towards the piece. So if it were over here, you'd want to bring it up like this. If it's over here, we want to bring it up like this. We bring the piece into the slot simply like this, and then undo that first move, bring the slot back down, and do one more turn to fix this side. And there we go. Now all the pieces are complete. Let's just do one more example of that before we move on. So let's say we're trying to get the green and orange piece into the slot right here. The green and orange piece is back here. So what we want to do is just bring up the slot towards the piece, bring the piece into the slot, bring the slot back down, and then finally fix this last corner over here. And now we can just finish off solving this last one by doing the simple line method, bringing it into a line, bring the slot up, bring the piece into the slot, and bring it back down just like we had before. And now we can move on to the last step. So on this third and final step, if you notice like me that you just have 3 pieces that need to be cycled around, all you have to do is look at those 3 pieces and find the one that has yellow facing upwards. So these 2 have yellow facing off to the side, this one has yellow facing upwards. And so since this is the piece that we need to pay attention to, we'll put it right here on the top like this. And if you look down at the slot here, you'll notice that these 2 colors, yellow and green, happen to be the same colors as on this edge, so yellow and green. And so now that means that we can do the exact same thing that we've done this entire cube. So we bring this slot upwards. You want to make sure that you're bringing it up this way and not up this way towards this unsolved piece. We bring the slot upwards. We bring the correct piece into the correct slot. You bring the slot back down, just like this. And now you'll notice that you're just 1 turn away from the cube being solved. So I'll do that same last layer case one more time. So looking around the cube, it looks like we have the same 3 edge pieces that need to be moved around. So we look for the one that has yellow facing upwards. It happens to be this one. Move this one to the top. And now we have the same case set up as we've had before. So we bring up the slot, we bring the piece into the slot, bring it back down, and do the last turn. That's exactly the same thing as we've done all along. Now sometimes at the end here you will have 4 unsolved pieces, and in this case all you have to do is choose one of them. Let's just say we choose this one, move this to the top, and do the same thing as before. So you bring the slot, the correct slot that it needs to go into, up, bring it over, back down, and then undo that last one move. And now we have the same case that we've had before. So we bring this piece up to the top, we bring the slot up, over, and back down, and there we go, the cube is now solved. And finally, if we have 4 unsolved edge pieces like this, and yellow is facing up on none of them, we can just pretend that yellow is facing up on one. So let's just pretend that yellow is facing up on this one, and we bring up the slot, bring it over, and bring it back down, and undo that move. And now we have a case that we're familiar with, so we have yellow facing up on this one, so we bring the slot up, bring the piece in, slot back down, and do the last final turn. And that is all the cases that you can get on the last layer of the Redi cube, and that is my full tutorial on how to solve the Redi cube in a very beginner's fashion. Of course, there are a lot of ways to solve the Redi cube. This one is definitely not the fastest. The best one, in my opinion, is just moving around pieces intuitively until you end up with a solved cube, but this one I like because you can explain it by doing the exact same sequence of moves in every single step from the first layer to the middle layer to the last layer. Of course, once you learn this, it's very easy to optimize it so that you're not doing as many inefficient moves. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this tutorial, and I'll see you guys next time.